the scythe. An interesting tool with an interesting history. While others have been turned into weapons due to uprisings, mobs, and folklore, none are more iconic than this one. It is often a curved blade that is attached to a long pole, and is used in the harvesting of farmers' crops. However, it is also the infamous tool of a different harvester, the Grim Reaper, who is said to use his to collect the souls of the recently dead. Clearly, this is a badass weapon. What in the world could make it even more badass than it already is? Well, you could fuse it with a 50 caliber sniper rifle, arguably one of the most badass sniper rifles in the world, to create a fusion of badassery only a madman could come up with. And that is what model we will be making today, the main weapon of the main character of the online Western anime RWBY, the Crescent Rose. This is wooden weaponry. Now, a little background before we begin. RWBY is a 3D anime in which schoolgirls, because all animes have to have schoolgirls, battle the forces of darkness and evil creatures known as Grimm. To help them with this, apart from the select few who have awakened the power inside them, this show is famous for the combination weapons its characters wield. And one of the most iconic of them all is the 50 caliber sniper rifle that can expand into a giant scythe. I think this lolly may be compensating for something. And today I'll be showing you how to create your own mini model of the Crescent Rose. Note, we will not be able to make it transform, as this is a simple build done so those who aren't skilled in crafting could still give it a try. And also the 3D model clearly clips into itself a bit in order to pull this shit off. And I'm sorry, but I haven't unlocked that skill yet. Anyways, let's begin. Warning! Do not attempt this if you're not adept at woodworking and or using a knife. And of whether or not you are, please be careful. Remember that sharp things cut, hot things burn, fingers don't grow back, and I am not liable if you hurt yourself attempting to do something you saw on the internet. Please try to take the necessary precautions by having a first aid kit and a bowl of ice water nearby for burns. And hell, maybe even ask a real adult to help you with this. Yes, I know that some of you may say that you're adults, but the ability to drive and buy beer does not make you an adult. So please be careful, because I don't care if you hurt yourself. Want to use a chainsaw in these projects? That's your business. Just please, craft responsibly. Now back to the video. Alrighty, let's begin. Here's the tools that you might possibly need. A box cutter, an X-Acto knife, a wire saw, but not necessarily, a ruler, just in case you guys need it, a marker, a pencil or a pen in some form, and some various grades of sandpaper from coarse, medium, to soft. Now, you may or may not need the wire saw and ruler, but if you got one, might as well use it. Now, some other things that may come in handy are some finger guards. Basically, it's just a few layers of duct tape to help protect your fingers when you're using your knives. For an adhesive, we're going to be using some hot glue. Now I hear you say, Richard, why can't I just use wood glue? Well, the problem with wood glue is that it's very runny and it doesn't dry as quickly, whereas hot glue can dry very fast and is much easier to work with, especially in case you make a mistake, as it's easier to fix. Also, don't forget to cut out the templates. I'll have it on my website for you guys to download. Link in the description. As for the materials that we'll be using, it's just going to be your basic stir sticks, gallon and 5-gallon size that you can get for free at your local hardware store. You're going to want to trace out the templates on each of the sticks. The Word document will tell you exactly which ones they go on. Now that you've got that all down, it's time to cut it up. For some of them it'll be very easy to cut, for others the fine corners may be a little difficult, which you have two options. You can use some sandpaper in order to grind it down to the correct dimensions, or you can go at it with a box cutter or your X-Acto knife in order to shave off whatever you need. Now after you're done cutting out a piece, you might be wondering, where exactly am I going to put this? I could lose this. Have no fear. Just get yourself a little bowl or cup and just simply place the thing inside. Now, as for the rest, just like the former, you're going to roughly cut out each of the pieces. You don't need to be exact, we'll finalize them later. In fact, you're going to want to be a little bit careful because cutting out with wood can be a little difficult if you don't cut with the grains. Now, cutting with the grains just means that actually the grains are going to be facing the opposite direction of your cut. If the grains are facing your blade, this may cause it to splinter or split, which has a great chance of ruining your piece, meaning that you have to start over. Now sometimes you may want to chop as it'll be a little bit easier, or you'll shave depending on what you want to do. Just remember to take your time. When it comes to the curve parts, you definitely want to move with grain. Again, we're just getting a rough cut, we'll finalize this later. After you're finished cutting up your last piece, remember to clean your workspace. Now to finalize the cut, grab your sandpaper and your X-Acto blade. Warning! This is a very sharp tool. Be careful of the points, we don't want anybody getting hurt here. Alright, now just start grabbing your pieces and start finalizing that cut by either sanding it down or using the X-Acto blade to file up the points that you need. If you're wondering exactly what you need to cut, simply look online for pictures of this model to give yourself a general ideas of how you need to cut it up. Again, when it comes to using the knife, we're doing a rough cut and then finalizing with sandpaper. Use the coarse sandpaper first in order to grind down what you need, then switch to the finer grit sandpaper in order to smooth it out. Remember to take your time, you can always remove but you can't put it back. After you're done, place the piece to the side and move on to the next one. Often when it comes to things like the handles, you may want to stick with just the sandpaper as it will give you a better finish. Sometimes you'll need to cut with the X-Acto knife. Be careful, again you want to cut with the grains as it will make it a lot easier and not have to worry about splintering the wood. Remember to switch to the sandpaper in order to help finalize the cut. Take your time, it will take a little bit of getting used to, but you can do it. Again, continue filing and sanding until you can get all your pieces nicely smooth and shaped up. Switch to something like a nail file, which is sort of like a medium grit, in order to sort of gently cut away pieces. When it comes to parts like the scope, you could switch to the X-Acto blade in order to help cut out some of the pieces a little more easier, then turn it over to the nail file or some sort of sandpaper in order to, again, finalize the shape. Now when it comes to the more circular pieces, this is where you're going to want to stick to the nail file or sandpaper in order to make it a little bit more easier on you getting those smooth curves. Alrighty, now that we're done finalizing the shapes, remember to keep your area clean. A clean workbench is often a safe workbench. Plug in your hot glue gun and give it a little while so they can heat up. Alrighty, in the meantime, it's best to set up the build in the rough shape of what it's going to look like. That way it'll be easier for you to pick out the pieces and slowly assemble it. To begin with, we're going to start with a large curved blade, as it's a great starting point. The two first pieces you're going to want to grab is the curved blade connector and the CBC spacers. Now you're going to attach them as such. The blue dollars will show you where you should place the glue. After each piece is attached, remember to clamp them down tightly in order to fuse them together properly. For the next piece, we're going to grab the main body and the piece that we just finished making. We're going to attach it to the main body as such. Note, you're going to want to have this on a slight angle. Not exactly flat out to the muzzle, but on a sort of 5-degree angle from it. Next, you're going to want to get the front guard and the back guard and bring them together. Again, following on screen to show you how they connect to each other. Press firmly and wipe away any excess glue. Next step, grab one of the curved blades and the piece that you just created. This is roughly how they're going to be placed on, so make sure that that curved part is facing downward. Place a little glue at the indicated spot and smack them together. Hold firmly until the glue dries because these are going to be attached only slightly until we can get into the main part. Now you're going to want to grab the other curved blade and attach it to the other side of what you just made. It's basically the same process but mirrored. As you can see here, this creates the two curved blades that we see on the Crescent Rose. Now we're going to want to take the two main parts that we just created and place them together. Apply glue at the blue points and quickly place the curved blades in the back guard upon those parts and hold firmly. Moving on, we're going to want to grab the straight blade connector and what we just created. Again, apply glue to the part and stick it to it. Next, you're going to grab the front blade and what we just created and attach it to the main parts. Apply glue, place, and hold firmly. Now we're going to want to do the other side, so grab the other curved blade connector and the other CBC spacer. Again, this is another attachment where it's literally the mirror opposite. Now grab what we just created and let's attach it to the main body. Apply the glue in the 3 spots and place the curved blade connector on top. Alright, moving on, grab the other straight blade connector as it's going to be attached in a slightly different way. Place glue both on the main body and the straight blade connector and attach it as such, with one part on top of the front blade and the other place under the curved blade connector. Now we're going to attach the straight blades, so grab one. Place glue on the same spot and just like the straight blade connector, we're going to go on top and under as shown. Now for the other straight blade. Again, this is just the same process but mirrored. Remember to be gentle, the glue takes a little while to dry. Now that we got it, we're going to be working on the back blades. So grab the back blade connector and the back blades. Roughly, we're going to want to look like this. But first things first, glue the back blade to the black blade connector as such. Now grab the other blade and we're going to attach it to the other side. Again, the same process, just mirrored. Alright, now we gotta attach the back blade arm to the part that we just created. Again, apply the glue as indicated and attach the back blade arm. Now we're gonna attach the back blade assembly to the main body. This is gonna be done as follows. Note, apply additional glue if it isn't feeling firmly connected. Alright, now we're gonna grab the second back blade arm and firmly attach these two together. Again, place some glue and then attach the back blade arm and hold firmly until dry. Now we're gonna get the back blade guards and attach them to the back blades. Place some glue and gently place these on, as it will be a little bit more of a delicate area. Now that one is done, let's grab the other back blade guard and attach it to the other back blade. Place some glue, place the part gently, and hold firmly until dry. Now we're going to attach the side guards to our main assembly. Place the glue as followed and attach the side guard. Now for this other side guard, which is literally again just a mirror image. Alrighty, now our model's really coming together. Now to add a little bit more detail, grab the CBC circles and the full assembly, place the glue as indicated, and place the CBC circle on top of it, holding firmly until dry. Again, doing the same thing, but for the other side and the other CBC circle. Now we get to the side grips. So grab them and prepare to place them on the main part. Place the glue down, attach the side grip, and hold firmly until this all dries. Grab the other side grip, do the same thing, but to the other side. Now it comes the magazine or mag. There are two ways to do this. One, you can just do it straight away and attach the mag to the indicated location, where its midway point is just off the end of the side grips. Or if you want this to be a bit more firmly attached, or even removable, we can carve away a little bit from the magazine and a slight hole into the main body to allow the mag to basically be removable. Gently carve away until it basically just snaps on. Alrighty, now what's a sniper rifle without a scope? However, there is actually a couple of ways in which you could attach it. One, you could make some sort of like side buffers to hold the scope in place, with one buffer on each side, lifting the scope slightly above the main body. Or you can get a toothpick and place it on either side of the scope in order to lift it up. Or if you like, you can place a flat piece of wood underneath the scope in order to give it that displacement. Or if you got tiny nails, clippers, and pliers, you could actually create two little spokes to place the scope on to give it a bit more of a realistic look. Now the final option is not really an option I like, but I know damn well that some of you lazy bastards are going to try it, and that's just to smack the scope right on top of the main body with no spacers whatsoever. Just note, if you do this, I'm going to find you and slap you for being a lazy bum. I mean, come on, look at the pictures. The scope is clearly elevated from the main body. Have some integrity, you lazy bastards. Anyways, there we have it. The Crescent Rose, finally completed and finally done. But I hear you asking, Richard, isn't there a part missing? And, well, you're kind of right. The bolt that is used to reload the gun isn't really part of the template, and the main reason for that is that you would have to use a toothpick in order to create it. However, let's just face it, most of you will probably just break off the ends and slap that thing to the side, despite the fact that the glue will likely not be able to hold that in place for very long, and it'll eventually just fall off. However, if you do have a drill bit, you could drill a tiny little hole in the side and insert the toothpick as such. But again, this is supposed to be a simple design that most people will be able to do. So, moving on. So, the Crescent Rose is basically completed now. However, we're not done, as now it comes time to color it. And for that, you have two options. Either painting it, which is relatively simple to do, if not difficult to master, and staining it, which is relatively difficult to do, if not simple to master. For this model, however, I'm going to be staining it. I picked myself out a decent oil-based stain with a slight red hue to it. I do prefer more natural colors, as it does come out a little bit nicer. Now when it comes to staining, you basically can just stain it all in one go and not have to worry too much about it, as the stain is supposed to soak into the wood. After the stain is dried, make sure to wipe off any excess in order to ensure that when we varnish this, the varnish sticks properly. Because yes, after the stain is fully dried, the final part is to apply some sort of clear finish on it in order to both protect it and to give it a bit of a glossy finish if that is what you like. For this, it's best if you use a spray type varnish, both because it's easier to apply and also because it's able to get into the nooks and crannies far easier. Make sure you do both sides, give it some time to dry, and you're all set. And there you have it, the Crescent Rose, the iconic weapon of the RWBY franchise made out of stir sticks for your very own. And again, like I said, you could also paint one. It does take a little bit more skill, but don't worry, given some time, you can be able to do it. And I must admit, the final product is certainly impressive. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like. Comment in the section below what you thought of the build, and subscribe and hit the bell notification if you'd like to keep up to date with more wooden weaponries. I've been Ricardo, and you guys, take care. Toodles!